It's our last day with the United Nations mission in South Sudan, UNMISS's Indian Battalion in Bat 2 in Bor, the capital of Jonglei State. After witnessing India's soft power in the country, today we meet the unit's Ghataks, meaning lethal or deadly in Hindi. Video journalist Pratik Suri is tracking an emergency operation demonstration of the Ghataks with two Sony Alpha A7 cameras, one on a tripod, one on a Ronin 3-axis gimbal stabilizer, a GoPro mounted on the helmet of a commando, and a Phantom 4 drone piloted by him and Ghatak platoon commander Captain Sanjay Dhaka. The infantry commandos are trained for terror attacks, hostage situations and counterinsurgency operations. They often act as shock troops and conduct assaults against enemy positions in sync with the rest of the battalion. They are often asked to carry out tasks such as special reconnaissance, raids on enemy artillery positions, airfields, supply dumps and tactical headquarters. The Ghataks are also capable of directing artillery and air attacks on targets deep within enemy lines. It's mandatory for all infantry officers to pass the commando training course. A Ghatak platoon is usually 20 to 21 men strong, consisting of a commanding officer, here Captain Francis Hivale, one warrant officer and 19 other ranks. From 1948 till April 30th, 2019, the UN has lost 3,842 peacekeepers. India has suffered the most casualties in foreign lands, 181. At INBAT 2's Stairway to Heaven, 7 of them are remembered: Lieutenant Colonel Mahipal Singh, Havildar Hiralal, Subedar Shiv Kumar Pal, Havildar Sasmal, Lance Naik Nandkishore Joshi, Subedar P.K. Singh and Subedar Dharmesh Sangwan. The local Marabou stork is omnipresent. Weighing up to 9 kilograms, it has the largest wingspan of any land bird, over 4 meters. Derived from the Arabic word murabit, hermit-like, it's a known scavenger, even eating carrion. Omnipresent is also Om, as the men start their day with yoga and meditation. God said, "Let there be light," and the Indian Army's multi-faith places of worship are in the tradition of duty above faith. A short walk across the Merham, Bajri-like road takes us to top UN officials in Bor.
I believe Indian contingents in South Sudan, they are making a difference. And as a sector commander, I am very proud for them. And also I think back home, every citizen of the country will also be very proud what their boys are doing in the South Sudan for the international peace.
And when you're talking about the implementation of peace accords, look back into the history of South Sudan, how that has panned out. How confident are you that this will not only hold, but you'll be able to expand it more?
That's a difficult question. Working in this environment, one has to have hope. What I can say is that the people are tired of war. This is a very war-weary population. There is also an understanding amongst the people in South Sudan that they will not see development unless there is peace. I believe that the people want the peace agreement to work, and if the people want the peace agreement to work, then the possibility exists.
The possibility of peace is what the Blue Helmets are working towards. But UNICEF records conflicts since 2013 mean 2.2 million, over 70% of school-aged children are not being educated.
We are happy actually to be with Indian contingents here in Malacca, in Bo.
India, though, is taking small steps to help the world's youngest country. At the John Garang University, the library has been rebuilt, and people like veterinary doctor Lieutenant Colonel Carter Arulraj even bring in books when they return from India. The empty shelves should be refilled soon, but the void filled by the death of John Garang is difficult to replace. So who was he? Between 1899 and 1955, South Sudan was part of Anglo-Egyptian Sudan under joint British-Egyptian rule. In 1956, Sudan gained independence. The first civil war was fought between 1962 and 1972. In 1972, the government conceded some autonomy to Southern Sudan in a deal signed in Addis Ababa when Kurt Waldheim was UN Secretary General. But by 1983, the Second Civil War broke out and was fought for nearly another 2 decades. In 2002, talks in Kenya ended the war between Southern rebels and the Sudanese government. The Machakos Protocol provided for the South to seek self-determination after 6 years. In 2005, John Garang, who led the Sudan People's Liberation Army for 22 years of war, negotiated a permanent ceasefire and a South Sudanese referendum on independence in 6 years' time. In July 2005, John Garang was sworn in as first vice president. A new Sudanese constitution, which gave the South a large degree of autonomy, was also signed. In August 2005, John Garang was killed in a plane crash. He is succeeded by Salva Kiir Mayardit. A civil war, 400,000 dead, over 4 million refugees since then. And the rest, they say, is history.
I'm confident that if the guns go silent, people will come back to their normal. Previously, when we were fighting for one aim only, that getting a free state of South Sudan. And so we were one. The minority tribes, the majority were all together. And I believe they will come back to that stage.
Setting that stage are over 19,000 uniformed and civilian peacekeepers, including over 2,500 Indians.
Gentlemen, I am Lieutenant Colonel Ashutosh Kapil. I am coordinating the appointment of Chief Operations Officers. Welcome to the INBAT 2 Command and Control Center. I will be briefly covering the your perspective of the battalion operations. This is the AOR of Sector East. We are the right battalion covering 5 counties. The actions which we need to carry out, that is protection of civilians, show UN presence, assist humanitarian activities, and also to identify outreach mechanism. There are certain threats which are imposed on us, that is to secure the bases, be prepared to thwart any ambush and carry out our activities with complete freedom of movement.
I am Lieutenant Colonel Vineet Tripathi. I am coordinating the appointment of Chief Logistic Officer. The lease agreement under which INBAT 2 is deployed in UNMISS mandates us to get all the mammoth logistics from back to our country, which includes medicines for our hospitals, arms and ammunition, construction materials, spares and consumed for over 300 pieces of mechanical transport.
So, taking ahead from my Chief Operation Officer, the whole idea is that this has been identified as one of the best practices in UNMISS. We have a 24/7 hotline number which is available at our exchange. We connect with our intelligence sources in the field, and whatever information we get is through them either giving us missed calls because of the challenges of communication here. And once we get a call, we call them back, we ascertain the various data and details which we need to ascertain, and we are able to launch our operations and our patrols within the shortest time frame to the required area as fast as possible.
Sensor, location Bhor, incident point Episcopal Church, टाइम 1400 आवर्स, 5 इंजीनियर्स को बंदी बना दिया गया है। जैन सर।
Setting off on a hostage extrication exercise, we get the chance to get a feel of what it's like inside the infantry combat vehicles, ICVs, also known by their Russian acronyms Boyevaya Mashina Pekhoti, BMPs, infantry fighting vehicles. There has been an incident in 2017 when precisely your skills and quick reaction was tested.
Yes, at the Pibor company operating base location in 2017. In a day, twice it has been made possible successful extrication of the UN NGOs and staff. One operation was carried out in the day and one of the operation was carried out in the night. In night it was more difficult because we were not aware about the locations of the particular NGOs. Neither they could provide ourselves any information. So it was the pre-homework which we have done in the peacetime training which helped in the successful extrication and saved the lives of those.
The hostage crisis resolved, it's time for the same demonstration field to be leveled and readied for a quick evening football match between the 7 Garhwal Rifles team and a team of other international peacekeepers. The hosts win the match 1-0. There are other stress busters for the men too.
वैसे बहुत सीरियस सा माहौल है, अब एंटरटेनमेंट के लिए क्या करते हैं?
जी बिल्कुल सर, सही कहा आपने। यहाँ पर हम काफ़ी स्ट्रेसफुल और कंडीशन में जी रहे हैं, लेकिन इंटरटेनमेंट के लिए हमारे पास भरपूर साधन है। जैसे हर बैरेक्स में यहाँ पे कैरम, चेस लगे हुए हैं। जब भी जवान LDP, SDP या ड्यूटी से फ्री होते हैं तो वो अपने समय पर इस चीज़ से अपना मनोरंजन कर लेते हैं। बटालियन लेवल पर हमारे लिए इंडोर्स गेम में जैसे बैडमिंटन कोर्ट है, टेनिस कोर्ट है सर, जिम्नेशियम है सर, ये लगे हैं। जब भी जवानों को समय मिलता है, समय समय पर जवान अपना इंटरटेनमेंट करते रहते हैं। साथ ही हर शनिवार को प्रोजेक्टर के द्वारा जवानों को यहाँ पे मूवी दिखाई जाती है साहब। और किसी खास फेस्टिवल में या महीने में एक बार हम इसी प्रकार का बड़ा खाना ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं। सभी जवान साहब लोग और जेशो साहब मिलकर इस बड़े खाने को सेलिब्रेट करते हैं साहब।
आप ये बताएंगे जो लोकल्स के साथ जो इंटरेक्शन होता है, क्योंकि आपका तो पीस कीपिंग रोल भी है और आउटरीच भी है, लोकल्स जो हैं भाषा उनका तो अलग है, कम्युनिकेशन कैसी है?
जी सही कहा आपने, हमारी भाषा और इनकी भाषा में काफ़ी अंतर है। लेकिन हम जब भी कहीं एक स्थान से दूसरे स्थान जाते हैं या किसी दूसरी जगह पोस्टिंग जाते हैं तो हम उस जगह के बारे में पूरी तैयारी करके जाते हैं। वहाँ का एनवायरनमेंट कैसा है, लैंग्वेज कौन सी है, कौन कौन सी जाति के लोग रहते हैं। तो दिल्ली में जब UN मिशन में डिप्लॉयड होने से पहले हमारे पास सबसे पहला चैलेंज यही था कि हम वहाँ के लोगों से कैसे कम्युनिकेट करेंगे। इसके लिए हमने एक रास्ता निकाला, हमने पता किया कि क्या हो सकता है। तो हमने पता किया कि यहाँ के लोग अरेबिक बोलते हैं और हर 5 बंदे में से एक बंदा नॉर्मल इंग्लिश बोलता है। हाउ आर यू, व्हाट आर यू डूइंग, नॉर्मल बोल सकता है। तो हमने इसके लिए क्या किया, अपने अपने बटालियन में बंदे सेलेक्ट किए। उन बंदे को हमने इंग्लिश स्पीकिंग और अरेबिक लैंग्वेज कोर्स कराया। इससे हमको ये फ़ायदा हुआ कि जब भी हम SDP, LDP या बाहर कैंप से बाहर कहीं भी जाते हैं, वो सेलेक्टेड बंदा हमारे साथ जाता है और हम आसानी से बाहर जाके उनसे इंटरेक्ट कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि उसको अरेबिक लैंग्वेज भी आती है और इंग्लिश भी आती है।
Before the Bada Khana, it's time to cross lines, with the officers losing a quick tug of war. It's the end of a long 3 days for us, which is just another 3 days for Inbat 2's men. Perhaps why a traditional Bada Khana is perfect to show their affection and let their hair down as they raise their leaders from Subedar Major Balbir Singh to Colonel Sunil Thomas on their shoulders.